It's spooky season. Halloween is upon us. One of my favorite holidays. And I don't think it would be Halloween if we didn't talk about horror. Let's talk about the horror genre in filmmaking and also some of the real life horror that's going on in our industry. And I have the perfect guest to talk about all of that and more on Beyond the Take. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is me, actor, producer, and host of Beyond the Take, Marc Chouen. Thank you for joining me. And before we get into our guest right now, I do have to apologize to my audience. I know there's been a lapse in episodes, and I do have a reason for that. And I'll explain. So I recently booked a dream role of mine, well, a role for a dream project, if you will, that had to go through its audition process and shot the thing and all that. It was fantastic. So I hit the highest of highs and followed by the lowest of lows. I find out shortly after wrapping that my dog has has a tumor on her spleen, and there's nothing they can do for her. So my apologies. I've been dealing with a lot of professional things and personal things at the same time. Um, Abby, I love you. This is for you. And let's hop right into it with my guest here today. Let's twist this around, my man. It's the season, spooky season. So we're gonna do it with my friend, indie horror maker, David B. Jacobs. What is up, my man?
Hi, I'm really sorry to hear about your dog. I was not expecting that as the start of the pod. Your dog's
Sorry.
name
No.
is Abby.
Yes, yes. Yeah, no, I didn't necessarily know if I was going to get into it, but like I realized as I hit record, like, oh shit, the last episode I did was like, like 2, 3 weeks ago. I'm like, usually there will be an episode or two in between there. So I felt like I definitely need to be transparent with my audience about what's going on here. I didn't
Yeah.
want to start off, I should say, on a sappy note, but hey, as of this recording, which is what's today's date? Sunday, October 26th, Abby is alive. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
she's okay right now.
Good.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
What kind of dog and how old?
She's 12. She's a golden retriever Labrador mix.
Mm.
Um, yeah, no, it's sad. It's tough. It's been tough. I feel like um it's just crazy, an emotional roller coaster ride, man, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
again,
I'm
like
a
high,
big dog fan, so yes, I
yeah.
love dogs.
Oh,
I often walk dogs between jobs and whatnot. Dogs are great.
no, they're the
Yeah.
best. They're the best. And like
Yeah.
the hard thing is like, of course, this dog's been in me and my wife's lives for 12 years,
Yeah.
and my daughter is so attached to this dog.
Her whole life.
Uh, yeah, for 3 years, and as much as it's hard on me and my wife, like my daughter, again, 3 years old, doesn't fully understand what's going on. She knows Abby's old. She knows Abby's sick.
Yeah.
But as far as like, hey, we have to say goodbye. Like just yesterday, actually, we had a scare where, we brought Abby back to the vet because we thought we were saying goodbye, you know. It just took a crazy turn for the worse. And so like, we're trying to explain to my daughter, and I feel like she wasn't fully getting it. And of course, why would she? Thankfully, the vet just gave her some more meds. He said she's not ready to go, thank God.
It's good.
Yeah, yeah, she's still got some fight in her, which is good. It was a big scare, but
Yeah.
that's really what I'm dreading the most. Like when we come back from the vet and without Abby, and how to explain that to my daughter.
Yeah.
That's the biggest concern. But Yeah, David, speaking of animals,
Congrats on the dream role.
thank you.
Yes.
Speaking of animals, let's dive into you, man. It's not about me. We're gonna try to do the most awkward segue possible.
I'm like, I can't just start introducing myself after that. Like, yeah,
I needed this. I need to laugh.
yeah. I know.
I need
Um,
to laugh. You just successfully directed your latest horror short, Wild Animals.
yes.
Um, let's dive into this. Let's talk about it, man.
Yeah.
Because again, 'tis the season, spooky season. Yeah, you're a big horror guy. And I remember reading this script. I helped you
Yeah,
audition as your
yeah.
kid for this. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
You
it was so
played
cool.
Larry Fessenden. You were Larry Fessenden's double at the audition because he
Yes.
wasn't gonna come to that. We didn't even ask him to.
No, no. Why would you? But it was cool to be a part of, right? To just to
Yeah.
see
Have
the
you
process for
seen the final product? I don't
I have
remember if
not yet.
I should
No.
have sent that to you ahead of this. Yeah.
Yeah. No, all good, all good. Um yeah, so another awkward beat.
But the movie is
No.
about a father and son's hunting trip turns into a nightmare when the boy reluctantly kills a strange animal and unleashes a curse. It's a little body horror movie. It's shot in black and white, 4:3 aspect ratio. Larry Fessenden is in it. He plays the father. It's just 8 minutes long with very little dialogue, actually. There is dialogue, but not much, which is why I really need an actor in the audition because I'm like, most of what we're doing is going to be physical. He needs someone to interact with.
Yeah, no, it was a cool process. And I remember because it's not easy working with kid
Yeah.
actors. And I feel like every child actor that came into the audition, man, was just like it was cool to see, man. Like they were like on their A game, each and every single one of them. Some of the parents were interesting from what I remember, right? Like because I feel
Yeah.
like in those auditions, like you're not just like auditioning a child, you're also kind of interviewing the parent too, because they're
Yes.
going to be on set. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that?
When someone comes in and you have like a fake knife, it's plastic, it's not going to hurt anyone, but on set it is going to be like there's a knife that we're using that's dulled. So when a kid comes in and picks up the knife and starts like playing with it and swinging around, it's like, no, 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 don't do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That's like immediately, okay, so not that one. If parents are like you're watching the kids' relationship with their parents. Sometimes it was even some on this one. It was sometimes it was like the kids were being mean to the parents, and I'm like, I don't want
Yeah,
that.
no. No, because if
Um,
they're talking to your parent, a parent that way in front of you, like imagine how they're
yeah,
going to respond to you, like when you're trying
yeah,
to direct them.
yeah. And then if a parent is too overprotective or too aggressive, like you don't. I've read the Jeanette McCurdy book. I don't expect anything on that level in a short film audition, but you don't want anything like that to happen. You are looking for this personality where it's I can work with this kid, I can work with their parents. They understand the material. It is dark material. It is a horror movie. So when the kid and their parent comes in, they've read the page I've given them, and then I have to tell them this is what the movie's about. This is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to be performing. And then if you're not cool with that, like that's okay. But I
Yeah.
need to know if you're cool with that because that is what we're dealing with. And I don't want to hide anything from my actor. I treat the kid actor. I mean, he's not a young kid. He's 12 years old. He's not 5 years old. So I want to be able to treat him like I would any other actor, and we're just talking real. There are some directors who like to sort of trick their actors into giving good performances. I don't like that. I don't want to do that. I just want to tell you what I need and then you give it to me. And even if you need something extra, I want that to be discussed between us in plain talk. So with the kid that we cast, he was amazing. Most of getting a good performance out of your kid actor is going to be casting the right kid. And we had Teddy Biggins, amazing. He's very shy. Like his personality is actually not that far off from the kid in the movie, which is great. And he was like so scared in the audition. It's like, it's okay, just relax. And then on set, he needs to like have a panic attack essentially. The kid in the movie has a panic attack. And it's low budget, so I'm doing a million jobs in pre-production and barely had any time to prep the actual directing aspect. So then on the day, I go to him and I'm like, by the way, have you had a panic attack before? Do you know what that is? And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay, well that's good. Like I'm glad that you
It's
don't
good
know.
on a good on a personal level, but
I
yeah.
definitely had my first panic attack by that age. I didn't know that was what it was, but I definitely had it like around that time. So anyway, now me and your dad are gonna explain what a panic attack is like. And you're going to have to do that on camera in a couple of hours. And then he just nailed it, and it was kind of
Wow.
awesome. Um,
Wow.
we did in a wide take, we tried two different things. In one, I was working him through more like breathing exercises in one take of the wide. And then the other take, I started talking like what he's thinking, like kind of being a little mean to him. I asked the head, like, can I be a little mean to you in this? And he's like, sure. And then after that, when we're going in for the close up, I go at him like, so which of those two ways that I was speaking to you do you prefer? Which one helped you more? And he said, I really liked it when you were talking mean to me. I think that was really helpful.
It's
And I was like, okay, great.
it's funny because like you're like one of like the sweetest people I met. Like, you are such a nice human being. What does being mean sound like coming from you? Can you give me an example?
I just take my own inner monologue and I just say it out loud. The inner monologue that I have like against myself, all my
Hmm.
self-doubts and my anxieties, and I just verbalize those, but directed toward him.
Wow. So like you were kind of playing almost like his inner conscious.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
Wow.
so I was like, okay, can I dial it up? Can I be mean? Do you want me to be even meaner? I can curse. He was like, sure. And his dad was also like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I'm gonna ask both of you separately before we do this.
And then funny enough, after he rapped, he had his first real panic attack. Joking.
No, but they did hit a deer. The deer was
Stop.
okay. It's
How is
so
that
weird because
happening?
I know. I think they didn't hit it very hard because apparently it just got up and ran away, and it was like, okay.
Oh my
They texted me later
God.
tonight, like, funny thing happened on our drive home. I'm like, it's not that funny.
That's hilarious. No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully the deer was okay, and they were also okay, thankfully. I should lead with
Thankfully.
that part. Thankfully they were
Yeah.
okay, and then thankfully the deer
Right.
was okay.
Right. Right. But so at any point though, did like because I remember sitting down during the audition process, you did go over the scene, just the gravity of the movie beforehand, and just to see how everyone was cool, just exactly as you described. Um, it's one thing for a parent or just for anyone in general to hear that beforehand. Um, did you get a sense at any point during it was like, oh man, what did we take on? Like, was it
No,
like, no? Okay.
never.
Yeah.
Uh, they texted or emailed me like a few hours later to reiterate how much they really wanted the role. Um, Also, like in the audition, I'm saying like, oh, the dad is going to be Larry Fessenden. they don't know who that is. Later on, they look that up and they're like, "Oh, wait, that's actually he's actually been in a lot of stuff." Okay,
Yeah.
this is actually really cool.
What was it like for him though? For because I've never had it done myself, but I can imagine as a kid it must have been deep. Like so,
All
Beatrice
the
Sniper,
makeup, yes,
yeah. So she was the effects makeup artist for this. If anyone doesn't know who she is, look up her work. She is probably the best in the game that I know of right now. Like
definitely.
fucking fantastic work. But there was a lot of special effects makeup in this. So like, what you guys had to take like what is it? What's it called?
Uh, m- the
The ma
mask
mask
of the
of
head. That's not what
yeah.
it's called, but yeah.
No, it's
Um,
not what it's called.
so
Um,
a year or
yeah,
two
talk about it.
ago, I saw a special screening at the Museum of the Moving Image of An American Werewolf in London, which is one of my favorite movies. If you watch that movie and then you watch my movie, you will see that we did a little more than homage and kind of ripped it off a little bit at some points. Um, but at this special screening, Griffin Dunn was there, who, if you don't know who it is, he was a really major comedy actor in the 1980s. And in An American Werewolf in London, they actually want him to play the lead. And he was like, I don't want to play the lead. I want to play the funny sidekick guy. That's who I
Hmm.
want to play. I want to play this guy who dies in the beginning and then comes back as a ghost throughout the entire movie. Zombie ghost thing. And he has a lot of intense makeup in that movie because each time we see him, his face is more rotten.
Hmm.
It's great. And apparently, when he auditioned for this role, the director asked him like, "Are you claustrophobic?" And he didn't know what the part. I think that was before he had even read the script, and he was like, "No." And then they're like, "Okay, you got the role." He's like, "Okay, what was the claustrophobic thing
Right,
about?"
right.
And the director said, "You'll find out." We did ask that same question in the audition, by the
Yes,
way.
you asked every actor about that. I remember.
Because what happens when you have a lot of makeup on your face, the way that they do this is that Beatrice went over to their house and basically encases your entire head in, I'm not sure what it is exactly. I think
It's
it's
it's bothering me that I can't remember the term for
plaster.
this right now.
It's
Yeah,
like, it might be, is it liquid latex? I don't think it's liquid latex. Maybe it is.
I don't know.
Beatrice knows. I don't
She
know.
well, yeah, of course she
Yeah,
knows.
I'm not the makeup artist. That's Beatrice.
Right, right.
Um, although I have been working, I can show you this.
Ooh, let me see.
This is my.
Ooh,
I've been making this for the past few weeks, really just a few days,
that's a little
for
creepy.
my Halloween costume. I did ask Beatrice for some advice, and then I've been making it myself.
That's creepy. I feel like if I saw you out and about on Halloween with that, if I didn't know you, I'd probably call the police.
Yes. Now there is blood on my hands
Fine,
from
fine.
touching that.
Fake blood that we hope.
Yes. No comment.
No comment. No comment. Let's move along.
Um,
Another insert awkward beat here.
uh, but anyway, so then with the model of your head, because basically the purpose of that is that you have the literal contours of the actor's actual face, so that Beatrice can then go and create all the prosthetics that she's going to put on your face in a way that they will actually match and align to the your skeletal structure.
That's amazing.
It's really cool and intense. And, it just takes like a few hours to do that process.
Oh, just a few hours. No big
Yeah.
deal.
Where you got to sit still and you can't see anything. You're breathing through tubes.
Yeah. Every actor's dream, you know? Like
Yeah. And Beatrice is like making corny jokes the entire time that you just have to listen to. She's
because what
great.
choice do you have?
um, Yes.
No, I've never, again, that's one experience I've yet to have as an actor, to that level of makeup. I'd be curious, just to see even like how I would do. Because
Are you claustrophobic?
yes and no. Like I could count on my hand how many times I've had like claustrophobic like moments, and it's like it's weird because like I have no problem being around a lot of people, but I do remember a couple times where like, for example, I remember once being at a club in my 20s, and dude, I frequently went to clubs, right? And it was actually Halloween, and this one particular Halloween, the place was like overcrowded. Like they were way past capacity, and like it was just like wall to wall, like person to person. Like we all felt like sardines, and I felt like a sense of dread and panic, which I had never felt before. And I was like, I need to get out of here, and I did. And like there were a couple of moments that are similar like that. Like again, I can count my hand how many times it's happened. So I do wonder. I do wonder how I would
Yeah.
do in that. Almost like a
I don't
challenge.
think I would do well.
No?
But I also don't like people touching my face.
Right. Right. I
Uh,
mean,
yeah.
who does? You know?
I really don't like people touching my face. It makes me so uncomfortable. I would not do well.
Well, luckily for you as a director, you never really have to worry about that.
Correct. I only need to torture other people.
Exactly. Do as I say, not as I do. That's the beauty of
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. I love it. I just get to
Love it.
torture other people.
So speaking of torture, so like let's dive into the whole horror aspect here, man.
Okay.
I mean, like again, like I feel like most things you have done as a filmmaker is horror, right? I think
Kinda.
I think the one time, the first thing that I worked with you on, the first time I met you was comedy, actually.
Yes.
Uh, but yeah, ever since it's been pure horror.
So I
What?
did start with comedy shorts, kind of.
Yeah.
In college, like way back 15 years ago in college or whatever, I had the idea that drama shorts I'd seen at that point I didn't really like, but a comedy short could make me laugh. So I was like, I want to do that. And I feel like it's really hard with a dramatic short to make someone care about these characters in such a short amount of time. So I quickly sort of started gravitating toward comedy, although a lot of what I did was very dark comedy. I was not afraid to kill people in my comedies. And then the one that we where we met was not written by me. It was another mutual friend of ours had written it and was producing and asked me to just come and direct. And you were acting across her.
Mhm.
And me and her did a bunch of stuff like that together where most of the time she would write, sometimes I would write, and we did like three or four of those. And then at some point, I no, I did I even beyond that, I a few times would like direct shorts that were written by actors that they wanted to act in. I did that quite a bit because I don't need to spend any money on it, so it's great.
That's a
I just
plus. That's always a
get
plus.
to
I don't have to use my own money. That's awesome. You might pay me? What? That's cool.
no, not really. They
Yeah.
don't pay me.
No.
If they do pay me, it's like
Wow.
$100. It's not a lot. I'm doing it at that point for the experience of getting to direct because I like being on set and I like directing and working with actors and trying to make something good. But my own shorts where I'm writing and directing is the ones that are more like my babies.
Yeah.
Started leaning more toward horror as the years went on, and then I had you in our movie Blind Spot,
Yes.
which is streaming on Screambox. They keep changing the name of it. Is it still called Screambox? But if you look up Bloody Bites, it's a couple episodes in Bloody Bites. It's Blind Spot with no vowels. And it's just this it's also a comedy. It's a comedy horror that is basically a loving parody of all these terrible B movies that are like just poorly made. So the idea is that we made this short very intentionally, very poorly made, and you're one of the few professional actors in there. We had like maybe 50-50. Some of the actors were professional because we wanted to do more stunty things, and some of the actors were non-professional because we wanted the realism of the shitty performances that are in those movies.
It was fun. I do remember working that. It was fun. It was a fun blend.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, can you like be a little less good at acting? Just
Hey, Mark, this is not going to win you an Oscar, okay? Let's just go into the campy. Let's go into the cheese. And this is
yeah.
a wrestling promo.
So that was fun. That was silly. It didn't do well at festivals because they were confused, and I don't think they could figure
You
out if we were
you
serious or not.
you did get into a couple festivals with
We
that
did get
though,
into a
which is
few,
good.
a couple.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So which is like, not necessarily like, nothing. It was something.
Yeah.
I feel like the things you do tend to get into festivals. And
Yes.
what for you, like, is it better for you as like, I don't want to call you a niche filmmaker because you're more than that. But like considering that
Genre.
you've leaned into the horror genre. Do you specifically aim for those type of festivals, or is there a strategy involved? Like, what's that
Yeah.
process like for you?
I do a mix. I love horror festivals so much, and like I feel like I have a lot of fun at them because that's also where I get to meet other horror specifically filmmakers and other genre filmmakers. And I'm kind of meeting people that speak the same language as me and want to pursue this genre specifically. You do meet those at regular festivals as well, but at genre festivals, that's like the point. But I do kind of 50-50, I would say. Most of the there are a few things because you need to, when you're submitting to festivals, you need to know what you're getting out of it, and you can have a few different things that you might want to get out of it. So with the horror festivals, I would submit to a much larger number of them around the country, a few international as well, that even if I can't go, this is something that can help our brand pretty much.
Hmm.
We gone to Nightmares Film Festival and Brooklyn Horror Film Festival are the two that we played at first. That was like our premiere weekend, 12 hours apart. I went to both of them. I slept for
You
2 hours.
maniac. Oh man.
And uh those are both very, very good horror
A
festivals.
Brooklyn Horror Film Festival
I
is like
love that. Yeah.
it's creme de la crop. Yeah.
I was just attending this year. Like I didn't have a movie in this year because still have this one going around. But I went and just attended and literally I probably saw like 8 or 10 features and multiple shorts blocks, and the entire time I did not see a single bad movie.
Wow. That's
Every
awesome.
single movie I saw was at least like decent. It was
Mhm.
all at least decent, and more than not were great. More than not
That's the
were
expectation,
great.
you right?
Yeah, it's like I'm watching these movies. I'm like, these are really fucking great movies, and I want people to see them. I want everyone to see these movies. They're so great. We'll be doing full coverage of Brooklyn Horror Film Festival on my podcast, actually, that I run with our friend Devin, Cadaver Dogs podcast. We'll at some point be releasing coverage of everything we saw at Brooklyn, of the big recommendations of what to look out for. So look out for that, or follow me on Letterboxd. I'm posting everything on Letterboxd anyway. DBJ Film. But yeah, I love all these horror festivals. They're amazing. The other things you can get out of festivals is first off, prioritizing ones you can go to. So the non-horror festivals that I submitted to were generally ones in New York,
Mhm.
because then I don't need to worry about flights or anything. I can just go.
And then luckily, there's just so many in New York.
Yeah. And not even just the city. Like I had upstate, I went to Blackbird Film Festival, which was great. That one, a lot of people there were from New York City and we've like kept in touch. So that's cool. I feel like the networking there was better than a lot of festivals because everyone was kind of doing the same thing. It felt like summer camp. I was at New York Cinefest, was a great time. Um, what I Festival of Cinema NYC, where we won Best Narrative Short.
Yes, that's awesome.
That was my third time at that festival. I love those guys. I'm friends with the head of the festival, and I think like he handed me the award, and I'm just like, did you like notice was happening? Did you do this? And he's like, no, I didn't know until I called your name out.
Oh man,
And I was like, what the fuck?
what does that moment feel like for you, man? When you win an award like that?
I was not expecting it. We had only been nominated for one other award, which was Best Makeup for Beatrice.
Mhm.
And I didn't, so I thought like, okay, well, we got nominated and that's great. I didn't think we were gonna fucking win. And then I'm just like trying to fight through my anxiety to say something meaningful while I'm on the stage and be like, this is a horror movie.
But so, like, was that a horror film festival, or was that
No,
no?
that
See,
was,
that's amazing.
yeah.
I love that. I love that because I feel like, now,
And I
correct
had a
me if
lot of
I'm wrong.
people come up to me and be like, I'm so happy that a horror film won. Like,
Right.
because people aren't used to that. People aren't used to horror films being competitive at non-horror festivals.
And like I feel like this year, 2025, it feels like that is becoming the thing. Like, like horror has been like I feel like kind of dominating the box office. There's just like a
Yeah.
whole comeback here.
Yeah.
Where people are actually talking awards for a horror film.
For multiple horror films.
Well, yeah, multiple.
Sinners is in. Sinners is getting the Best Picture nomination 100%.
Yeah.
That's like it would be shocking if it didn't. And it's like probably looking at double digit nominations.
And it's probably the favorite at this point.
No. One
At
battle
this,
after another is the favorite.
well, yeah, well, that up until then, yeah. But like Sinners for the most part of the year was considered the favorite.
Mm,
In that, I think.
there was Sentimental Value. There was Hamnet. Uh, sorry, I follow this stuff. So I'm so obsessed with Oscars. It's my Super Bowl. I get excited by it. I'm like on all the subreddits talking about the Oscars. I'm like always
But
updating my predictions like
but then
constantly.
okay, so there are two passions right there: the Oscars and horror. I mean, like this got to be
It's
the biggest
not
year for
because
you.
the Oscars are meaningful in any way. The Oscars are they're not completely worthless, but they don't mean anything. I almost always disagree with what they do. I just find it entertaining to try to predict what they're going to do, even if they're not going to award my favorites. Like one of my favorites of the year was Bring Her Back. This was a amazing movie with Sally Hawkins. It is a horror film. It's the same guys who did Talk to Me. It's very brutal. There is some extremely horrific imagery in this movie that you'll be like, I never even considered that as something I could see. How did they think to do that gore? That's not what I thought was that just never would have come into my brain. And it's so good. It's so good. Strongly recommend.
So why do you think like right now, like, I feel like years past, like I think horror actually come to think of it, horror has always been like the mainstay. It's always does I feel it consistently does well in the box office, no matter the times, even like the turbulent times that we are right now in the industry. Like, horror is it, and it's got like a better ROI than probably anything. Why do you think that is? A, and B, why do you think just now, like, you know, critically it's being probably more accepted right now, for example, with Sinners, like as far as being the new awards.
Yeah, critically is a good question. Uh, it might be because everything else is failing, honestly, because the industry's not in a great place, but there is always horror. You're right, horror's been around since the beginning of the industry. Some of the earliest movies that were made were horror movies. And even before that, there's always been horror literature. When we like were living in freaking caves, we were telling each other horror stories.
Yes.
Uh, Parents would tell horror stories to their children to warn them, like if you go out there at night, you'll get eaten by a wolf.
That's true. That's true.
Fairy tales, the things that we tell our children regularly are horror. Like Little Red Riding Hood, that's a horror story.
Even like Greek mythology, like some of that is like
Yeah.
horror based.
I mean, you've seen that painting of the Saturn eating the kid, and it's like, yeah, and
Right.
it's like, what the fuck is that? It's great. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
even
all
even if you
horror.
want to, even if you want to go biblical here, I mean, like the devil. I mean, that's pure horror right there.
Even in Judaism, like the 10 plagues is horror.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's I think it's because it is very primal. It speaks to us on this very base level, and it kind of just tears right past our reservations. It breaks through the surface level, and it speaks to like our id, essentially, to get Freudian. Not that Freud was right about anything, but it speaks to our subconscious, to our id. And I think that a lot of the time, the horror movies that are coming out, even when the filmmakers aren't aware of it, are talking about issues long before anyone is willing to talk about those issues. Like Saw, when Saw came out, that was 2004, I think.
Circa, yeah.
And it was, I mean, those guys were Australian who made that, but it was right after 9/11. And it's during the Iraq War, and it's when we have Guantanamo Bay, and it's starting to come out that like, oh, we are torturing people in Guantanamo Bay. How do we feel about that? We don't know. We kind of don't want to talk about it. And then you get this movie comes out where someone is tr im kidnapping and imprisoning people and torturing them in the belief that it will lead to a greater good and help humanity and help them even. And the movie is kind of accidentally tapping into this cultural conversation about Guantanamo Bay, and no other movies are doing that at that time. There's no Steven Spielberg movie about Guantanamo Bay. Maybe he would do something like that now if he liked the script. Eventually, we get Zero Dark 30. It was Catherine Bigelow that talks about it in 2013 and doesn't do a very good job talking about it. But it's, even like, Saw's a stupid movie. I love Saw so much, but like it's pretty stupid.
But it did
Um,
so well, though. It's a
because
cult
it's
following.
talking about it. Even if it's being stupid in its approach to the subject matter, it is talking about it. And we're trying to figure out how we feel about this. And now we're being allowed to digest it. We're being allowed to consider these things. And not just Saw. This is like any horror movie. Friday the 13th came out 1980. It was the same year that Ronald Reagan was elected into the presidency. I'm always talking about Ronald Reagan on horror podcasts. And in Friday the 13th, he she actually, it's Pamela Voorhees in the first one, spoilers. But she's killing these kids because they're having sex, because they're doing drugs, because they're so involved in themselves, because they're hippies essentially. And she is coming after them and saying, like, you need to think of the children, think of the family values, and like stop being these disruptive, rebellious kids and behave yourselves. And those are the things that Ronald Reagan was running his campaign on, kind of.
Oh my God, I didn't even put two and two together with that.
Uh-huh. It's really weird. And that is like the decade of the slasher was like the late 70s into the 80s where it really, really boomed. And that is all just tapping into this conversation that we're having in politics. Some of these movies, The Hunger, Fright Night, The Thing, The Lost Boys, are very heavily queer coded, and some of them even start talking about AIDS. The Fly, the David Cronenberg, The Fly. A lot of people have interpreted that one to be a metaphor for AIDS. Cronenberg has commented on that. He
Hmm.
said that was totally not what he was thinking at all. That wasn't his intention. But he also really likes that interpretation and said, "No, I see where you're coming from. I think that makes sense. It's not what I was looking for, but I mean, maybe even on a subconscious level, it was." And there were no mainstream movies at that time talking about AIDS. Like they weren't. Even in the 70s, they had movies with gay characters in the mainstream. In the 80s, they did not. They stopped making movies about gay people. A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 is another heavily, heavily queer-coded movie. I have a friend who directed a documentary about A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 called Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street. Check that out. It's a fantastic doc. And it gets into this conversation about AIDS and about the treatment of gay people in the 80s because when the movie came out, critics and audiences did immediately say, "Oh, this movie is really, really gay. We're going to blame the actor for it. He must be a gay person." And that was true, but it wasn't. He didn't. He was like, it was in the script. I was just doing what the script said. I knew it was gay, but like that's in the script.
Right.
But the movie kind of outed him as a gay man, and it ruined his career
Wow.
because people did not want to work with him anymore. He talks in the documentary about like uh going to auditions where he has to kiss an actress and they didn't want to kiss him because they thought they would get AIDS.
Wow. That's horrible.
Because Ronald Reagan wouldn't fund any research about AIDS, so nobody knew anything. And they
Right.
thought that you could get it from kissing someone, which you can't, in case anyone doesn't know that still. Um,
Which there might be people who don't know that. You
yeah,
never
there
know
might be.
nowadays.
And it wasn't until like 1992 or something that we finally got Philadelphia with Tom Hanks, where a mainstream awards worthy movie finally started talking about this stuff. It's like, well, horror's been talking about this stuff. Horror's already aware of this and like even if unintentionally is frequently commenting on what's going on that no one else wants to discuss.
If you compare like music and film, would you say like horror is like the grunge of film?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because as you were talking about that, like, I couldn't just help but like draw those two parallels in my brain here. Um, and like
But it's older than grunge.
yeah, but it's older than grunge, right? If you really yeah, if you play back our previous convo about it, yeah, I mean like we were just going through it. Um, and it's just amazing to see like horror just stands the test of time. I think always.
Hmm.
Uh, but it's
Not
interesting.
always.
Well, no, I mean, like, well, I mean, as far as like storytelling, what gravitates people to, like, especially specifically with film, that brings people to the box office. Like, horror
Yeah.
tends to do better than most genres, um, especially if you look at the box office numbers. Critically, not always the case, um, but like this year seems to actually, and it's just not like the only year we've seen like Get Out, I believe
Yeah.
was nominated, right?
It won
Um,
screenplay.
It won screen. That's right. It won screenplay. Yes. How can I forget? And it looks like, we're heading towards another year of that. Um, but what I wanted to ask you here was just like, we have so many, especially, all right, forget about film, but like in all separate genres, separate, going all the way back to the day with horror. How do we keep getting scared? With with all these different horror products out there right now, like, is it still the same old tropes? Like, what are new ways, especially for you as a filmmaker, to scare the audience?
So I don't get scared very often. It happens sometimes. Uh, there was a movie at Brooklyn Horror called It Needs Eyes where they had a really good jump scare in there, and I was like, whoa! So that was really nice. It's rare for that to for something to get me. Um, but I think a lot of it is really personal, honestly. When I'm making a horror movie, I don't really think about what's going to scare the audience because I don't know what's going to scare the audience.
Fascinating. Please enlighten me with that.
Um, for me, I think it's really important that it comes from the characters. I think that if you don't care what happens to the characters in the movie, you're not going to be scared.
Mm.
I mean, maybe you will. It depends on you, but I'm not. I need to be concerned for them. I need to have at least like a base level of like feeling that they are real. Um, and but also fear is very different for every person. I am arachnophobic, so
Okay.
and not just spiders, like bugs in general will get me. I do not do bugs. So like for me, the last segment of Creep Show is like the freakiest thing ever. It's a cockroach short and it's ugh. Um for someone who doesn't have that fear, that's not gonna bother them. Like uh, and that's even like a really specific example because also about what scares you in your subconscious. Like I have had a lot of family members who've had dementia and getting dementia was one of my biggest fears. So when a horror movie is able to play into that fear, then that can scare me. The Haunting of Bly Manor even has, without giving too much away, they have their idea of the ghosts of the afterlife, or of ghosts really, is that you sort of keep living the same events over and over and over again, and you don't really have an understanding of it. It kind of hollows out your mind, but they're just keep repeating the same things and not quite understanding that the world has moved on. And that to me spoke to my fear of dementia.
Mm.
And like, it's not even viscerally scary. It's not even in like a jump scare way, but it stays with you. There are also those different kinds of fears because there's jump scares, and then there's like the kind of scare that stays with you when it's more of a creepiness, more of an atmosphere, more of an existential horror. And then there's also just, gruesomeness, just brutality, and when you can get someone to cringe at the gore, that's another just completely different kind of fear. There's a lot of different kinds of it, and a lot of it is also very deeply personal, and different ones will affect different people differently. The goriness doesn't usually bother me. There are times when it can, but for the most part, I'm just like, oh, cool. For the most part, when I see the gore, I just like get excited by it. It doesn't bother me, but someone else it will. And I think that says a lot. That so it really depends on the person and it really depends on the film. And if you ask 10 different people what movies scare them the most, you could very easily get 10 different answers. You could get no overlap at all.
Interesting. That's fascinating, man. I never really thought about it like that, but like, I'm kind of mad that I haven't because if you really think about horror, there's just so many different subgenres of horror.
Yeah,
Um, it's just like it's just pick your poison pretty much.
yeah,
So that was a cool answer to hear. For you, like, you talked about Saw before. We talked about The Fly. I can even talk about The Substance here. Like, there are a lot of different like
yeah.
horror movies where I look at it, Final Destination, right? And you just,
Mm.
you look at it, and then like, I'm sure an audience member is thinking this too. You watch one of these gruesome scenes that's just so fucked up. You're like, what the fuck is this writer thinking? Is this writer fucked up? Like, what is wrong with this writer? Can you elaborate, please? What goes in your mind writing these fucked up scenes?
Well, I'm actually a serial killer, and I can't
Uh,
usually talk about that because if I do, I'll get arrested. So
yeah.
instead I just make movies about it, and that's like my way of, telling people like, by the way, I've totally done all of this in real life. No, no.
This is my memo.
I've met a lot of horror filmmakers. Everyone is different. Most of them are really nice.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're such a nice person. Again, I have to reiterate that.
Yeah, most of these horror filmmakers are just very good people. I think that it's more so that we've all kind of been traumatized and fucked up, and we like to exercise the exorcist, not
Mm.
exercise our trauma through horror, and that goes for horror fans as well. There was a fun little statistic during COVID-19 that people who watch a lot of horror movies were handling it a lot better than people who don't, because we'd like already been preparing mentally in our heads for something like this for our entire lives.
Would you say that's true?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I like it still fucked me up, but I did okay in COVID. I don't know. Relatively. Relatively okay. Not the best. Not my
I think
best year.
I think like I think that's what people thrive for during that time. Like I think relatively okay. I'll take relatively okay during COVID. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I'm
yeah,
like, I just want to keep in touch with all my friends. I want to make sure that we're all there for each other. Like, that's what's gonna get us through this. And
yeah.
I like set up a game night that we did twice a week at first, and then once a week once things started picking up for people. Um, and that kept everyone in touch. It's not quite still going, but it's kind of still going in a different form. We're all still playing Risk Online, except I've been ridiculously busy, so I just timed out of our current game because I kept forgetting it was happening.
Well, that's a
Because
good thing.
I'm like
Being
I'm at festivals. Yeah.
well, I mean, I think right now, especially now more than ever, if you're in entertainment, if you're busy right now, you're thriving. You're doing well.
Uh, my short film's doing well. My script supervising that I used to make money with is not doing so well, but now I'm walking dogs, so that's how I'm making my money.
I did want to dive into that. So yeah, as we talking about 2025, it's been a shitty year, I think, all around
Yes.
for like, I think we talk about it as actors quite a bit, but I feel like no one's really talking about the crew.
Mm.
Um, can you
The
please
crew
elaborate?
are. The crew are definitely talking about the crew. We don't
Yeah,
talk about the actors.
right, right. But for like, yeah, it's funny. So from my standpoint, the actors, it's all we talking about, right? And I don't, was this a saying last year for you guys? Like you would hear like,
Yes.
survive to 25.
Yes.
Yeah. It's 2025. It's almost over. What the fuck happened?
Oh, they say we just need to survive till 2026.
Yeah, but that doesn't
I've
flow.
I've stopped believing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's been going on? Because I feel like a lot of people have their own theories about what's going on. I'll say my theory, which is the correct one.
Such a
About
director of you.
15 years ago or so, Netflix was starting to become a thing.
Hmm.
And Netflix, you remember they said like, oh, $8 and we'll send DVDs to you.
Ah, yes, I
And
was a
then
big
they
fan.
said, oh, $8 and you'll also get like some movies will be online and you can just stream them that way. And then we also like, whoa, this is really cool. Wow, this is great. We can just watch it right online. Neat. And the thing about Netflix is they were charging $8 for a subscription, and like that's not that much. And then they started making their own content, which was a fuck ton of money, but then they're giving it to you just for that same subscription price that you were already paying. They would push it up like $1 every year to slowly creep up, and now it's like already more than double what it used to be.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're still not making any money. Netflix is not profitable as a business model. The business model makes no sense. And I feel like we all kind of knew that, but it's also like, but it exists and it's still going. So they must know something I don't, that this is somehow profitable, even though it really seems like they're just spending hundreds of millions of dollars every year on
It's
these
Fugazi.
prestige television shows and movies. And they're charging like $100 per person for an entire year. Like, I feel like I used to spend this much per movie that I saw, and then you could also directly link like, oh, this movie made this much. Now with Netflix, we can't even do that anymore. With TV show, it used to be all ads. So if the TV show is getting very well watched, they'd have an easier time selling ads and could charge more for them. I can understand that business model. The Netflix business model, I don't understand it, but they're smart, right? And it's true, they are smart because their actual plan was, well, let's just make everyone stop going to Blockbuster and movie theaters.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
they succeeded. Blockbuster doesn't exist anymore. There are no more movie stores. People don't even really have physical media anymore for the most part. A lot of movies don't even get a physical media release, which is terrifying because those movies might not exist anymore in 20 years. I don't know how many people know, but like most of the silent era movies do not exist anymore. Most of the movies that came out in like the first 30 years of film history, because they weren't well preserved, because it wasn't really considered taken seriously as an art form. So most of them just weren't well preserved and got lost and are disappeared. They're lost movies.
Wow. So
A
you think
lot of
that's going to
them,
happen again?
yes, I think that we are going to lose a lot of the media that we've been coming out with in the past 10 years. It's already happening. You can't watch Hemlock Grove. Hemlock Grove doesn't exist anymore. There are a lot of TV shows from 10 years ago that you can't find anywhere. Specifically like the
Wow.
third season of Hemlock Grove. I think the first two seasons got physical releases, but the third one didn't. Mike Flanagan, part of the reason that he stopped working with Netflix was because they wouldn't give his movies physical releases. And he's like, they're going to disappear. Want all my content to have a physical release. I want it to be preserved. So he cut off Netflix and he went to, I think he's with Amazon now. Hush, one of his first movies with Netflix, Hush finally got a physical release because he broke off his deal with them. But anyway, Netflix drove everyone out of business. And then what everyone said was, whoa, we're going out of net business because of this Netflix thing. Let's all do the same thing they're doing and start our own streaming services that won't make any money. And we're all going to throw all these millions and billions of dollars into all these big budget projects that won't make any of it back. And they
They could
kept
write off
doing
as a
that.
loss, though. That's the thing. They
Yeah.
could write off as a loss.
And in this time, like I think especially starting around 2014, 2015, when all the streamers were really kicking off producing their own products, the film industry was booming. There was so much work Everywhere you looked, there was work. They were making jokes on Rick and Morty about how easy it is to sell a screenplay to Netflix. They had the episode where Morty writes a screenplay and he wants to sell it to Netflix, and everyone keeps saying like, "Oh yeah, that's a really achievable goal. You can totally do
Yeah.
that,"
Yeah.
which is not usually what historically people say about writing a screenplay and selling it to a major distribution model.
Well, now, yeah, now good luck.
Because
Gotta be
now
like a
what's
spec script.
happened is the strikes, what the strikes were really about, like people talk about AI and whatnot. AI kind of became an issue during the strikes, but what they were really about was that actors and writers and a lot of the other higher ups would always get money off of how well the movie or show is doing. If a show plays on cable or whatever, and there are ads during it, then the networks get some money from those ads, but then part of that goes out to the talent as royalties. Same with movies when they play in theaters. You play in theaters for and you make $200 million. Some of that is going to Scarlett Johansson until they do Black Widow and it's now COVID. So they say, okay, well, we're not going to do a big theatrical release. We will do a small theatrical release and we'll release it on digital streaming at the same time. And then Scarlett Johansson sues Disney because she's like, hey, you just fucked me out of a fuck ton of royalties that I would have gotten if you hadn't just given the movie away.
For free.
And she's right. And she's
Yeah.
completely right. And that was what the strikes were about, was the fact that they were no longer getting any royalties and the contract had not been updated. When all this first started happening, there was basically a clause in contract negotiations that said, this is a new model. It's called new media, and we're trying
Yes.
to get it off the ground right now. Once it's off the ground, we will renegotiate this contract. For now, it's going to be a shitty contract, but that is temporary. That is what was agreed upon. And then, of course, the studios don't want to cave on that. They don't actually want to give you a better contract. So as time goes on and they're not giving you the better contract, then you keep going to negotiations and saying, hey, this is supposed to be temporary. And the studios are like, ha ha ha, we're going to take all the money. And you're not. So then there's strikes. That's what happens. That's the obvious natural consequence of that. And then during the strikes, the studio said, all right, fine, fuck all of you. We're going to stop making all of this content because it's not profitable. And now there is a lot less content being made. And I don't even think people necessarily realize that because they don't realize how much shitty throwaway content was being made during this time. Like when they say you could just sell your screenplay to Netflix, like it's not that much of an exaggeration. They made a lot of random movies that you've never heard of that were just dumped on there and like someone watched it.
Right. Right.
It
Right.
was just to show that they had so much content. It wasn't to make anything good. And no one cared about it. No one saw it beyond that. It's a second screen media, is what they called it. It's for people to watch while they're doing something else. It's it's so silly. So now they're making less. What's also happened is they are decentralizing. It used to be New York, LA. Those are the places you go. I mean, if you really want to go back, it's you go to LA. LA was the place where everything was made.
Right.
Then indie cinema started kicking up and they started being like, oh, now there's a little haven in New York as well, and that's starting to pick up. And then like when I started working professionally, was there's New York and there's LA and a little bit there's also Atlanta has a lot of stuff as well.
Right.
And then there's like a few other cities that have some stuff. There's Toronto, I think.
Vancouver.
Yep. Toronto, Vancouver, which are in America, but
At
regardless.
one point, Wilmington was Atlanta at one point, but they got
Because
rid
it
of
also
their
follows taxes as well.
yeah.
Like Louisiana had good taxes at some point, so that was really good, and a lot of people were
Yeah.
filming in Louisiana. Now what's happening is there's no really nowhere that's set in stone, and there aren't really major production cities anymore, I
Well, it's
think.
funny because like I feel like LA just announced like, recently their tax incentive. New York re-upped theirs. New
Well,
Jersey has a
LA's
really good
was
one.
also on fire.
Yeah, LA was on fire.
That's
But
part of this as well.
right. New Jersey has a big one.
Yep.
But like what's troubling is like, the rest of the world has caught up.
Yeah.
You see Spain, Canada, there's a lot going on in Canada. Um,
So that's
and
the
like,
other thing. Yeah.
they
Um,
all have their own federal tax incentive, right? And the United States doesn't have it at a federal level.
and they have shittier unions. So
Yes,
if you go and shoot your movie in Hungary, then you don't need to pay the cast and crew quite as much as if you were to shoot it in New York.
exactly.
And then you can make your big movie that should cost $50 million for $10 million.
It's almost like the studios have
And
caught wind of
yeah,
like what commercials are doing. Ad agencies like they avoid SAG by going non-union or they film
yep.
overseas where there's no union. And it's like film TV. It's like all of a sudden like, oh, that's what you guys do. Oh,
I
we
think that's
we
when I
should do that.
was starting into the professional world was when commercials were all starting to go non-union. And I remember everyone complaining like, "Oh, well, these commercials all used to be union, now they're all non-union." And that, I mean, for me, that's been my entire professional career. I don't think I've ever worked on a union commercial. I've worked on a lot of non-union commercials, but I don't think I've ever worked on a union commercial
I
for crew.
I've only done it as like a background or stand-in. I have for a union commercial. I have not booked. I could probably count on my hand too how
So
many
it's
like
also
union commercials I've got for as far as auditions go.
also a
Uh,
union commercial for you might still be non-union for me because it
that's true.
is they can make a deal with SAG but not make a deal with IATSE.
That's
IATSE
true.
is the crew union.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, that I think that happens a lot. A lot of the commercials I've worked on, I think, were a union for actors, but not for crew.
Do you see it changing at all? Because like I feel like, as much as we're talking about horror in this, I feel like this is the true horror right now for us. Like but for real, I mean like we're finding our ways and I think indie filmmaking it's I mean you've seen the film festival market right now. I have a film out there as well and it's like I feel like it's more fierce than ever the competition
Mm,
for these film festivals, which is like actually in a way delightful to see. Like just like so many people are looking to work and like make their own craft. Like they're not letting all of this defeat them, because it's in them. Like they love the craft. They love
yeah,
creating. So in that way, it's uplifting, and it's great for indie filmmaking. But as far as like we still at the end of the day have to make a living, right? And like
yeah. So
indie filmmaking doesn't pay as much.
the good news is that it's easier than ever to make a movie. We all have a camera in our pocket.
Mhm.
The bad news is it's easier than ever for everyone else to also be making their movie.
Exactly.
Um, I met Mark Duplass I played at Woodstock Film Festival,
I
which was
love him.
amazing. Woodstock Film Festival is an Academy qualifying festival, which means that if we had won, which we did not, then we would be eligible for an Oscar, but we didn't win, but that's fine. We still played at an Academy qualifying festival.
That's
Um,
fantastic. That's for
and
wild animals, right?
yep, for Wild Animals. That
Oh,
was
love it.
last week. Last week as of our recording, I think 2 weeks ago as of when you released this. Um, and at this festival, I somehow got into this private round table with Mark Duplass, and I was sitting right next to him, and it was literally just an hour of him giving advice to these upcoming filmmakers. And he was like encouraging to an extent. He
Mhm.
also was not overly optimistic.
Right.
Um, he said his big breakout was when he and his brother made the puffy chair in 2006, 2007, something like that.
I don't
They
even
did
remember
that
that.
for no money. I've seen it. It's a good movie. They did it for no money. It's like very, I think it's mumblecore. Mumblecore heads might complain if I say that. I don't know, but I think of it as mumblecore. Um, and it's literally just like a bunch of non-professional actors at the time, uh, shooting this little relationship drama where they have a big chair that they just so happen to have. I think it's mostly ad-libbed. I'm not sure about that.
I wouldn't be surprised knowing his
Um,
background.
it's like you watch the movie, you can tell that they didn't have money. It's still good. You can definitely tell they didn't have money. And that got into Sundance. And
Wow.
that was his big breakout. He made this Sundance hit, and then he was able to keep going, and he kept rolling it up the hill. He kept making bigger and bigger stuff. I don't think he's ever wants to make anything huge, huge. His kind of business model for himself and his production company has been to make things a lot cheaper than everyone else would make them. Usually has a smaller crew, smaller cast, and just makes it work and then sells it for the same amount. Because it's also all really fucking good. Like everything he works on is great.
Right.
Um, and he told us, like, point blank, if he made the puffy chair today, it would not get into Sundance.
Mm,
And he's right. There's absolutely no way that would get into Sundance today, especially coming from someone who at that time was not connected to anyone. If you
right.
want to get into Sundance today, you need to know someone.
Right.
You need to have someone on your movie who is known by the programmers at Sundance. And there's
And it's still
not
not
really a
guaranteed.
way around it. Yeah,
That's still
still
not
not
a
a guarantee.
guarantee. It's like, like with my film, like, I have a name in there, Nicholas Turturro in there, right? And you would think that would be a lock to get into like more film festivals. It's fierce right now.
Oh
Because
yeah.
like, like it's again, we thought, we had an edge having a name, but so do other shorts. Because again, we're in a period of time where so many people are just looking to work.
Yep.
It's wild.
Yep.
It's wild right now.
Yeah. I don't even think Sundance is likely to accept anything that's that low budget. They want something that looks like it was made for a studio budget, and it
Mhm.
probably has at least 1 million behind it. Even like their smallest stuff, I think, has 500K probably, and looks like it was more than that. Um, it's wild. So, I mean, I stopped submitting to Sundance. I'm like, I'm never gonna get into Sundance. I don't really care. Fuck Sundance. I want to get into these other festivals. What's Sundance gonna do for me? These other festivals won't. Even if you get into Sundance, it's not a guarantee of distribution. A lot of Sundance movies don't get distribution. And it's like, what? Why not? That's insane. Um,
It's all insane right now. But I look at the clock, man. We've been talking for a while.
I
I
could
do
keep
want to.
going.
Same. I do want to end off on like more of like a positive
Yeah,
note
yeah. Let's
here.
redirect it to a
So
positive.
so like what was some inspirational words that Mark Duplass shared with you within the other filmmakers there? Because he did say he did have some encouragement. What was it? What was a big takeaway for you advice wise?
So I have written quite a few screenplays that I have been trying to get off the ground. And most of these screenplays are written to be made for like $1 million budget at least, which means that I need to find someone who's going to lift me up and give me $1 million. And Mark Duplass basically said, like, you can have those scripts, like, absolutely pursue that. But also, you want to have a script that you don't need to ask anyone for permission, that you can just go and shoot. He called it the unstoppable screenplay, that no one can stop you from making it.
Wow.
So now I need to go write that.
That's it. Yeah, and I just need to write that. No big deal. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
No, but that is
um,
powerful though. Like I do hear what you're saying there. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. He also, I mean, this won't apply to others, but he was like, you guys all got into Woodstock, so do you have something? And I'm like, thanks.
Well,
I did go to the Woodstock.
that has to be a validation for you. I mean, like it was a validation to me when I was on set in this dream project that I came not allowed to say yet until it airs. Um, but I did have gained words of encouragement from your peers, right?
Yeah,
From the director I worked with, from the leads I've recognized, one of which, like, his work I've watched from afar and admired his work. And the words of affirmation that he gave to me, and the time to give, like, career advice and whatnot,
yeah.
like that means a lot. And it may sound like nothing at first, but like, man, like just to feel like you have a seat at the table, like, oh man, I have all this work, all the grind, the sweat, the tears, like I belong, and
Hmm.
I have someone who's way more successful than me saying that. And kudos to you, man. I mean, like,
Thank you.
that is awesome.
The other
Um,
thing Duplass said, which I think will be applicable to any filmmaker who's trying to make it, is even if the stuff you're doing right now doesn't go far, which might happen, it's very, very hard out there right now. There is no clear path at the moment of what is in order to make it. But even if the stuff you're making right now doesn't make it and just winds up in the backlog somewhere, but then in 10, 20 years, you would make the one that does break through, all the stuff you made up until then will suddenly have value.
that's true. That is true. And how many times have we seen that?
Yeah. Uh, it'll be like there can be retroactive value to the things that you are making right now, even if it doesn't feel that way. So don't put everything into one movie. Be ready to make your next one. Um, don't chop off your arms and legs in order to get your film made. That's not going to be productive because then you will burn out and you will be done.
David. No, that's actually a good note to end off on right there. It's
Yeah.
positive, it's uplifting, and yeah, not as scary.
So take a breath and
Yeah.
just keep going, work on yourself, get some therapy. Yeah. And keep on the lookout for wild animals, which will we don't have the plan yet to get it out, but it'll probably be in the next couple months. I think you'll be able to see it.
Well, I look
So
forward to finally watching it myself, so
nice.
I will stay tuned for sure. David B. Jacobs, thank you, my man. Best of luck to you in Wild
Yes.
Animals and for your next venture. Hopefully, I get to work with you down the road
Thank you.
again, my friend. Cheers.
Should I plug my socials and
Oh,
whatnot?
yeah,
Oh yeah,
please,
yeah.
by all means. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can follow me at my personal is your friendly neighborhood underscore DBJ. And if you want to follow the movie, then that is at Wild Animals Short Film, all on Instagram. I hate social media. Instagram is enough for me. Yeah.
Great
And if you
plug.
want to follow
Great
the
plug.
podcast, it's Cadaver Dogs Pod.
Boom. From a man that hates social media, he recommends you follow him. No, I'm joking.
All my
Give
accounts,
him.
all of them.
He's a talented man. Give him a follow. You'll like his stuff for sure. David, thank you again, man. We definitely have to hang soon. Let's stay in touch. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Such an awesome guy. Now, I love David. Him and I go back, like he said, like, we worked on a comedy project together, and then I got to enter his horror world as well. Um, Lovely human being, demented mind. I mean that with all the respect in the world. But I think it's we talked about the horror community, and we also talked the real horrors that the industry is facing right now. And you know, I, I think that was wise words that Mark Duplass dropped on David and the other filmmakers there at Woodstock. Um, especially like have that idea, have that script that's undeniable. Put on pen and paper. Just keep writing. Keep writing. If that is your gift, if that's your talent, keep on doing it. And I think that's the same for like any type of gift you have in this industry. It's just keep at it, keep doing it. And, one of these days, like, you're going to have that script that's just, that's the one. Or you're going to have that film that you direct and like, that's the one. Or you have that role that you book, right? Or the role that you get cast in, and it's like, that's the one. You're not going to know if you quit. If you quit, you're never going to know. So keep at it. Keep fighting the fight. Keep hustling, my friends. And that is all for me at Beyond the Take. Thank you so much, my friends, for following along my journey here. Thank you for your patience. I am sorry, and hopefully we get the ball rolling again. Um, and yeah, follow me on all forms of social media, Beyond the Take Pod. And yeah, drop your comments. Let me know. Let me know what subjects you want to hear more about, who you'd like to have on, who you'd like to hear more from. I'm here. I'm here to talk about all things with the industry, to lay it to you straight, and also to keep the inspiration alive. Much love, my friends. Cheers.